Oh man, do I love food. The LA Times even took notice after I ate at Hugo's nearly every day for 32 years. It was just blocks from my home in West Hollywood. And now I've moved to the motion picture and television fund here in Woodland Hills. And my obsession for good meals continue to simmer. Join me as I explore our food options here on the Wasserman campus.
Hello and welcome back. Thank you to Ray and the Laugh Track crew for wandering the World Wide Web. So much appreciated. We have for you right now the latest installment of the original Foodie. Join me on Zoom, won't you? Hi, Phil.
Hi, Jen.
Who have you got for us today?
This is a very good friend of mine. I'm very familiar with his family and his, we've been friends for a long time, particularly his mom and dad. I'd like to introduce you to James McCabe.
Hi, guys.
Hi.
Hi, nice to see you.
Nice to meet you. I'm going to bounce off. You guys have a great conversation. If anybody wants to call with questions, I'm here and I will take your phone call.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Jen. James, I'm working at Leslie. I'll look at this one. She's working on 2 cameras. Okay, gotcha. Now I'm straight on to you. Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure. Love to have you. And James, as I've mentioned, has been a friend of mine for quite some time, and his mom and dad are very, very dear friends. And I happen to be a godfather to his other brother. And so this is truly family. Now, James is a very, very special guy, and he's into designing kitchens. And I thought this might be very interesting to bring James here to my fellow residents. He's located in Los Angeles, on Beverly Drive, Beverly Boulevard, and right in the design district. So James, tell me something. What got you turned on about designing kitchens?
What got me turned on? Good question. So I've been doing it for about 10 years now, and I can't seem to remember how exactly I started or I realized that I was all of a sudden a kitchen designer. I think I realized 10 years ago I was already doing it. I was lucky that I was able to do an internship, which started about 12 years ago, back in 2008, I think, through a company in London called Roundhouse Design. So I started at the bottom, pretty much as you'd expect, sweeping floors and just checking in and following the designers, listening, and then gradually worked my way up, worked in London for a bit. I think what got me into it, you know my dad, you say, I mean, obviously you've known him, 35 years, longer?
Easily.
Yeah,
truly.
And my mom and dad, as you know, were in the service industry, and Dad, amongst other things, was the chef back in the pub, which I grew up in, which has its own history. So I think I just grew up in kitchens. I think I always looked up to him as a chef, walked around the kitchen, the countertops were up above my head, but I think it was built into me. And then the designing just kind of came later.
I had the pleasure. I was in the UK 4 or 5 times. And one of my visits to the UK, I was there with a client, Russ Tamblin, and we were doing a big gala, big charity gala for the UK. And there was time to take a train to the center of the UK. So off we went. And we went to your mom and dad's pub. And
the center of the UK.
Center of the UK. Was it Rugby?
It was not. It's 10 miles away from Rugby.
It's 10 miles away from Rugby.
Tiny village with thatched roofs, very English, very old.
Very, yes. It was very nice. I mean, it was quite an example. And she took some, or there were some photographs taken. And see, I don't have it. I have it on the wall. I didn't even think about it. But one of my Christmas cards is of me sitting having an English breakfast at the pub. And as you well know, the English breakfast is a multitude of and a ton of food, and it was just wonderful. But we had a terrific time, and that's a time that I will, never forget. But now, certainly, back to you. You started, of course, in the UK, and you had fun over there, and then. What brought you here? How did you manage to get connected to this side of the ocean?
So what brought me here is kind of a long story, but long story short, I came, I wanted to be West Coast America for the sunshine. I always wanted to come to California. It was just a lifelong dream from way back when, which is a whole nother story because it was a bit of a journey, a journey of its own. So I came here for the sunshine, and I don't know if you know this story, but I came 2 years ago in February when my dad was living here, and I came on vacation, and I went to rent a car, and I went to Hertz Rental Cars or something like that, and I said, you know what, if it's easy to rent a car in California and hassle-free, I'll move here, because that's one of the most stressful things you can do is go and try and rent a car. And it was the most pleasant experience ever, and I said, that's it, I'm moving to California.
Wow.
And I rented that car, drove to Los Angeles, came to Beverly Hills, came to West Hollywood, and saw the showroom manager here at Eggersman, and kind of asked for a job, and it all worked out.
Well,
it's a pretty cool story.
Yeah, no, that's great. We have some photographs here, James. One of our first photographs is of your early work. Amy, can we put that forward?
It's on.
Thank you.
Oh, yes. Okay. I remember this.
Now, this is, if I've got it right, this is your first work in England.
Some of it, yeah.
In London, yes.
Yeah, that's a kitchen in Notting Hill, actually.
Yes. And is there something there that made it different? Were people not using that kind of setup?
It's a very old design. It was new at the time, but you'll see from that center island, if you look at it, the three sides of the island are made from stone, but the top is made from wood. The client wanted a wooden top, but she liked this stone, and we actually did it. So we mitered the stone to the wood so that the top looked like it had zero depth. And I remember this project well because this, you can't tell, but it's on the fourth story of a terraced house, one of those nice Notting Hill houses, and that stone is probably 12 feet long. We had to carry that up 4 flights of stairs with, pulleys and things like that. But this kitchen it was old. I was really proud of it. We actually won an award for craftsmanship for this particular kitchen, and it was one of my first ever ones, so I was pretty proud of it.
Now, we have another photo, which you get. Now, here we are. Now, this is interesting. I think if everybody can see, it says on top there of those pictures on the wall, it says, "Trust me." I thought that was terrific.
Yeah.
Tell us about this one. This one is a little more modern, I would think.
It's the thing about this one, I like it as an example of kitchens because this kind of design, this aesthetic is still pretty popular. It's very eclectic. You have a modern cabinet. The countertops is actually a poured concrete, so it's kind of an industrial material. The little wooden bar top seating is an old piece of reclaimed timber. That was actually 300 years old, and it was reclaimed from a timber yard and turned into this bar top. And then the open brickwork with stainless steel shelves. More, again, the eclectic mix of industrial and traditional. And the Trust Me neon sign just reflects that client's sense of humor. And actually on the other side of the wall, the whole wall is painted with blackboard paint. And she just has a couple of notes on there. At the top of her shopping list was, buy more shoes. Really great client. I'll remember her forever. Sue Miller was her name.
Sue Miller. Now, that piece of wood on the end, which is served as a serving area, is it coated with something so that when you serve on it, there's nothing that's going to fall into and leak into the wood.
Yeah, probably it was just, sealed.
Sealed.
Probably sealed, varnished, and probably just with like a matte lacquer to give it some protection. But then that kitchen is probably 10 years old now. And I would hope that they're oiling it just to keep the wood sealed.
And how long would that area be, the length from where the wood piece is to the end of that centerpiece in the kitchen? Would that be 12 feet?
The wooden piece is probably about 4 feet, and on the picture that we see about 8 feet of the island, and then that's about half of it, I would say.
So it's about half of the island. So that island is 16 feet?
Could be. Yeah, it was a big island.
That is a big island. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a big house, and she liked to entertain, and big island.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right. Now, as you found your way to West Hollywood, where you and your charming lady are presently living, you did some work in West Hollywood.
Mm-hmm.
Can we have the next picture, the third picture, please? Now, this was a more recent job in West Hollywood.
Yes. This was a lovely lady, lives 5 minutes, in West Hollywood, just around the corner from the showroom.
Uh-huh.
In a 2-bedroom bungalow. And she'd bought the house with a spec kitchen already installed, but it was fairly cheap. And this is usual for around here. If you have a builder build a house, it doesn't always have the most luxurious materials in here. And the kitchen didn't work for her. There wasn't enough countertop space. It just didn't suit, and it didn't suit her personality. It had no real life to it. So she walked in, we hit it off straight away. I showed her a couple of materials. We did our design, dance. And she chose a really dark background cabinet, which played with other aspects of her house. And then this beautiful, it's actually it's an anodized aluminum in the color, and it's a light bronze color. So it's a real metal door. It catches the light really well. It's kind of feminine, but really, really beautiful. And then we chose a natural marble top with just some very subtle veining in it to keep it nice and light.
Mm-hmm.
It was simple. It's a good example of a very simple but well thought out kitchen.
And then we have another photo which gives us an idea of your first job. This is your first job in Los Angeles.
It was my first client. Yeah.
And
he came in looking for a dishwasher. That's all he needed.
You're a hell of a salesman.
So he came in. They just bought this house. Again, it was a newly built house. And it had one dishwasher. He needed 2 dishwashers. I don't sell dishwashers. I said, you'll have to go somewhere else to buy a dishwasher, but I don't know, looking at your space, I don't know where you'd put it. You'd have to take a cabinet out, you'd have to do this, So he said, okay, maybe I'll just change the island. And I said, okay, well, I could sell you an island. That's fine. I could, we could do some cabinets. And then we just, the relationship forms as with a lot of these projects. And it didn't make any sense to do the island. It made sense to actually do the whole kitchen. Then he did the bathroom. Then he did the bedroom. He demoed the whole house. And a year later, just walked into, and it's beautiful, really beautiful. I don't think he regrets it at all. He's probably spent a bit more than what he, one dishwasher, but it's a fun story.
And where was this approximately located?
This project was in Cheviot Hills.
In Cheviot Hills. Oh, okay. Not far from 20th Century Fox.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Right. Oh, yes. Well, they would have a larger home because that looks like a good-sized kitchen.
It is a good-sized kitchen, and actually, as a first project for me, it gave me a good sense of what was to come because the properties here are larger. There's more, which is fun, more space to play with.
Sure. Is that a hardwood floor?
It is. Yes. Yeah, and that runs throughout the whole ground floor. Yeah.
So now, keeping in your desires of coming to California and finding the sun, can we cheat a little and tell my audience that you're looking to leave West Hollywood and find a new location for you and your charming lady?
Well, I came here, I found the sun. We're looking at maybe moving now out to the further west.
Further west.
Towards the beach, I feel.
The beach and maybe the Marina area.
Yeah, we're looking Marina del Rey, Santa Monica, and something like that. I feel like as an Englishman, not from these parts, it wouldn't be a true adventure if I didn't get to see the sea every day.
Well,
that's my goal.
I think we had a discussion about a restaurant that's in the Marina area called Casablanca.
Casablanca.
Yes, and
the famous calamari.
That's right, calamari. I couldn't think of calamari when we were originally talking, but then of course it came to me. But nobody in this entire city makes a calamari sandwich like Carlos does at Casablanca.
I'm going to pop in for a second.
Sure.
I did not know you were such a fan of Casablanca. So, James, to bring you a little bit up to speed, every resident knows who's coming up next on our program is Edgar Pablos, Nate Thompson, Rick Lee Dum. They're a group of guys that talk about film. Their show's called Cinephiles. Edgar happens to be my fiance. We were supposed to get married in June, and it was going to take place here on the campus. Do you know what restaurant was going to cater?
Casablanca.
Oh, that's wild.
And for me, he loves all of the food. For me, the tortillas that they make, they're like warm blankets that you get to eat. It's so delicious.
Wow, that's a good way of describing it.
Yeah. Okay, carry on.
Great. Well, that's all the more reason.
That's wonderful. I had absolutely no idea.
Yeah.
Well, Carlos is a great friend of the motion picture and television fund. We've had many a sojourn, but I was turned on to Casablanca by a volunteer here. I had heard about it, but I'd never been there. And the part that's incredibly enjoyable is that the entire motif inside, it all has to do with the American movie Casablanca, Humphrey Bogart, and a cast of, it became quite a classic. So, but this, I had absolutely no idea that Jen and Edgar were planning to have Carlos do the food. But it's an incredible place, James, and you and your lady just have to, because the calamari sandwiches, of which I'm sure I mentioned to you that there are 3, and they come with 3 different kinds of what is the word? Servings on top, sauces. Different kinds of sauces, and I've never seen calamari. I've seen calamari in most restaurants as an appetizer. Once in a great while, you may or may not find an entree, but this calamari sandwich is he does a hell of a job. And but in your sojourn to the sun and to the water, you're headed in the right direction.
Good.
Does this mean then that you would then commute from, should you find the place of your dream, and then you will commute there back to Beverly Boulevard?
Yes.
And so that's a workable situation for you guys.
It's a workable situation. I was told when I first moved here a few years ago, make sure your commute is, make sure you have it figured out. So I moved within 5 minutes of the showroom, and I could walk it if I had to, but now it's a 5-minute commute. I actually think it's too short, I wouldn't mind to have a slightly longer one. I can make my calls back home in the morning. I can catch up with my mom, while I'm driving, and I think it's commutable. I know it's a big thing. You've got to be careful here in Los Angeles with the traffic, but no, it's fine.
You'll be welcome to the traffic situation here, which is incredible. But a lot of folks will be coming from that area, moving into West Hollywood, the Beverly Hills, heading downtown. But there are freeways and so forth. But you'll find your way, and I'm sure that you'll enjoy it. Have you been out to any particular restaurant since you've been here? Well, of course now. Well, you've been here a while, but any?
I've been here, yeah. I mean, the first place that I went to, I'm a big fan of pizza, and I discovered, is it Mozza?
In the shopping center.
No. It's Mozza, and there's 2. There's one over towards Hollywood area, and there's actually one in Newport Beach. And that was one of the first times I had good pizza. I don't know if you're familiar with that restaurant.
Phil, it's Mozza on Melrose and Highland.
Melrose and Highland.
Yes.
Thank you, Jen.
Yes, on the corner.
Yes, on the corner with the best pizza in the whole of America.
It is it's the best pizza. I lived in New York for a bit. I had good pizza over there, and I struggled for a little while to find good pizza here until I found that place. Yeah. Very, very impressed. And there's one in Newport Beach as well, which I guess has been open just under 2 years. Okay. I don't know if they're open now, I guess, but that. Recently, I went to. I don't know if you know, I live right by the Grove, the shopping center, the kind of outdoor mall.
Right.
And they have a place called La Piazza, right there in the middle of the mall, overlooking the fountain. And they've started doing outdoor dining now because everything has to be outdoors. So I actually went there. I went there this Tuesday, and I went last Saturday as well because I like sitting outside. You've got the fountain. There's music playing, kind of 50s style. Music. Pizza not as good as Mozza, but nice setting, very nice setting.
No, the setting that is very, very nice, and the railroad tracks and the streetcar, quote unquote, coming by.
Yeah. And
yes,
it's noticeably less busy, I think, because
because
no tourists.
Yeah, right.
Just me.
Was it that really unbusy when you were there? It was not very busy at all.
On the Saturday, yeah, considering we were sitting by the fountain, you know, you could barely, I didn't notice a ton of people walking around, you know, and I've lived there for a few years now. So yeah, usually this time of the year, you know, there's a lot of tourists around.
No, you're right, because I have a visual of where you were sitting and the fountain and all the places around the fountain. I think the movie theater is still there.
Yes.
And yes, and so yeah. No, it's a lovely place. Years ago, a lot of that property. Well, you noticed. Did you have an opportunity to go into the farmers market at all?
I go there quite often. Yeah, we get some of our local produce from there because at the moment, you know, we're trying to avoid the big markets,
right?
Like, you know, the supermarkets. So no, they have everything there that you need. So I spend a lot of time there. And there's the nice French restaurant in there. I forget the name. Monsieur Marcel.
Oh, okay.
Which is right there in the middle of the farmers market.
In the middle. Oh, okay. I have a vague recollection of, but there are a few of them there. You can go and sort of stop at the various vendors and pick up your food accordingly.
Mm-hmm.
And all right. Well, James, listen, I got to tell you that I'm very appreciative that you took the time to spend some time with us here. All of us are enjoying the same situations that everybody else, not only in Los Angeles and California, but throughout the United States. It's a crazy time for us. It's a crazy time for the world. And it is folks like you that just help us change the pace of this piece of craziness that's happening. And I just want to wish you and your lovely lady just all the best in your adventures, in your avenues to the water. And
yeah, thank you.
Yeah, it's a good time now. This time of year, we get a warm summer, and we've been lucky of late with what's been going on for August. It's usually warmer than it has been, but don't worry, it will get us. But I just want to say thank you.
My pleasure.
We will talk, and please say hello to your parents.
I will.
And, I will be talking to your dad very soon.
They're going to be very excited that we're able to catch up like this.
Yes, I'm sure they will be. So I would like to sign off with my usual sign off, if I may, and just to say again, thanks, James, and my sign off till we eat again. Take care. God bless.
Very good. Thank you, Phil. Great to see you.
Same thing.
Thanks, guys.
Bye,
Thanks, Jen.
everybody.
Bye.